pasta, the Vatican City, pizza, great fashion brands, and many more things are all that most people know about Italy. Despite being one of the youngest European countries, Italy is one of the biggest names in fashion. Talk of Giorgio Armani, the famous Dolce and Gabbana, Prada, Versace, Valentino, and so on. I mean, the list is endless. Italy has long been recognized as one of the world's most renowned fashion centers. The very name of Milan conjures images of runways, expensive fashion companies, and catwalk models. But before these, there's a whole story of Italian fashion history. Accompany me as we go back in time and look into Italian fashion history. Stay tuned to get all the details that set apart Italian fashion history. Hello and welcome to today's video. Before we get started, tap on the sub button and give the video a thumbs up. Having done that, let's get started. Italian city-states such as Florence were sites of fashion innovation during the Renaissance. However, for centuries that followed, Paris ruled the world of fashion. Of course, fashion was manufactured in Italy at the time, but it was typically based on French trends. Only since the 1950s has Italy established itself as a supplier of trendy apparel for the rest of the globe. The birth of the Italian style relies on significant historical advantages, such as fine craft traditions in textile manufacture, luxury leather products, high-quality tailoring, and other fashion-related crafts. Mariano Fortuny's beautiful textiles and outfits were widely recognized globally in the decades before World War II, as were Ermenegildo Zegna's exquisite men's woolen suiting materials and Ferragamo and Gucci's fine accessories. Nonetheless, Italy's best recognized pre-war designer, Elsa Schiaparelli, was based in Paris and is symptomatic of the country's relative obscurity on the world fashion stage. As Nicola White describes in her essential book, Reconstructing Italian Fashion, modern Italian fashion initially rose to worldwide prominence with the quick post-World War II war rehabilitation of the textile sector and the emergence of ready-to-wear garment manufacture. The growth of Italian fashion after World War II was not coincidental. With the help of the Italian government, several Italian manufacturers attempted to establish an export-oriented fashion sector that would play an important part in Italy's post-war economic rehabilitation. Beginning in 1949, fashion displays aimed at capturing the attention of international journalists were produced to highlight Italy's artistic and cultural legacy. A crucial fashion exhibition in Florence in July 1951 drew about 200 American buyers, journalists, and many others from Italy and Europe. Journalists and department store buyers visiting the Paris Fashion Week started taking the train down to Florence. Fashion shows were created partly to meet the desire for imaginatively built, well-made, ready-to-wear blending distinction and informality, suited to the American love of bright weather and colorful, reasonably priced apparel. Originally, the Italian alto mode couture houses also displayed in Florence. Still, for several reasons, the couturiers quickly started to show in Rome, where many of them were members of Roman society. They organized and exhibited their unique masterpieces for La Dolce Vita there. The Italian look was eagerly pushed by American media, who associated it with casual but aristocratic elegance. Capri trousers, sandals, gold jewelry, and stylish sunglasses were considered fundamental features of the Italian style. Italian fashion provided an enticing and less costly alternative to Paris couture. The economic and cultural ties between Italy and America were crucial in the post-war development of Italian fashion. The strong relationship between the worlds of cinema and fashion was one expression of this. The Fontana sisters, for example, who established their couture firm in Rome in 1944, were synonymous with Hollywood beauty. Ava Gardner wore Fontana outfits in the 1953 film The Barefoot Contessa. Emilio Pucci debuted in the fashion industry in 1948. Immediately becoming recognized for his kaleidoscopic textile patterns, which were turned into featherweight jersey scarves, shirts, and other items. Pucci contributed to the reputation of Italian designers for simple, comfortable, and body-conscious apparel. His vividly colored clothes were part of a larger range of Italian items that became trademarks of contemporary design, such as Vespa motor scooters and Olivetti typewriters. By the early 1960s, it was evident that Italy had altered the way the world appeared. The term Italian had come to mean excellent design. Roberto Capucci, born in 1930, was another renowned Italian designer who launched his workshop in Rome in 1950 and immediately established himself as a master of shape and color. Cappucci approached his work as an artist by pleating and twisting cloth into flowing, sculptural forms. Valentino was perhaps the most influential and successful Italian designer to emerge throughout the 1960s. Valentino Gavarni studied couture in Paris before launching his haute couture firm in Rome in 1960. His career had already spanned more than 4 decades. He creates ready-to-wear couture collections and is recognized for his love of bright red textiles. The ongoing, unresolved rivalry between Florence and Rome, each with its calendar of fashion shows, aided Milan's ascent into the 1970s as the capital of Italian fashion for both men and women. Some of the most forward-thinking Italian businesses, such as Crizia and Missoni, relocated their collection to Milan, as did the famous stylist Walter Albini, who designed for many different firms that exhibited in Milan while also making apparel for his label. Milan, a northern Italian industrial city, lacked the historic appeal of Rome and Florence, but it could rely on the long-standing Italian history of exquisite textiles. Northern Italian textile producers gave financial support to Italian apparel makers that exhibited in Milan. Furthermore, Milan was noted for innovative product design, and Vogue Italia began publishing there in 1961. The growth of the ready-to-wear clothes business was unavoidable due to these conditions. In this milieu, 2 designers in particular came to popularity and international fame: Giorgio Armani and Gianni Versace. In the 1970s, Armani transformed men's fashion by designing unstructured coats that were as comfy as sweaters and had a sensual elegance. Armani's outfits were featured extensively in the 1980 film American Gigolo, and by 1982, his photo was on the cover of Time magazine. An effortless grace and opulent simplicity likewise distinguished his women's clothing. Meanwhile, other Italian enterprises long recognized for excellent materials and exceptional craftsmanship, such as Ermenegildo Zegna, benefited from the ascent of Italian tailoring to international leadership beginning in the 1970s. Gianni Versace established his line in 1978 and was quite different from Armani. Whereas Armani stressed Greek elegance, Versace's designs were anchored in an ethos of flamboyance and show. He created some of the most sexually expressive garments ever manufactured inside the mainstream of fashion for both men and women. After Gianni Versace was assassinated in Miami in 1997, his sister Donatella took over as the company's main designer. After working closely with him for many years, she expanded on her brother's look while adding her additions to the Versace style. For example, Gianni's affinity for popular music became even more fundamental to Donatella's style. Her body-revealing and purposefully outlandish gowns, worn by famous singers and actors, were a highly anticipated staple of the annual Oscar and other entertainment sector award ceremonies by the early 2000s. Armani and Versace commercially clipped Franco Moschino. Still, his satirical take on the fashion industry was popular with ladies who wanted to be considered fashionable, but not as fashion victims. The resurrection of Gucci under the supervision of the American Tom Ford, the ascent of Prada, and the effect of Dolce and Gabbana are among the most astonishing success stories of Italian fashion in the late 20th century. Miuccia Prada took over her grandfather's small, well-known leatherware company in the 1980s and grew into a worldwide sensation in accessories, shoes, and clothes. Her first great hit was a black nylon bag with a triangular silver label, which became a cult item among fashion-conscious ladies. Prada bags and shoes had become the worldwide standard for cool by the mid-1990s. Meanwhile, Gucci, established in the 1920s as a leather goods company and famed among jet-setters in the 1960s, had fallen out of favor until its resurrection as a provider of ultra-sexy clothing and accessories in the 1990s. Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana created Dolce and Gabbana in 1982 and rose to prominence with clothes inspired by 1950s Italian sex bomb icons. In the early 2000s, the Italian fashion system included cutting-edge manufacturing of contemporary clothes, casual tailoring, luxury leather goods, knitwear, research into new forms of design and production, thread, yarn, and fabric advancements. Understated richness, modernity, beauty, and sensuality define Italian style. Fashion designers are not regarded as artists in Italy, but rather competent employees within an industrial system. The multidisciplinary aspect of the Italian fashion business is one of its distinguishing features. The seamless integration of product creation, new materials and technology, new communication channels, celebrity, tradition, and art. Since the Biennale di Firenze in 1997, which featured a citywide exhibition examining the link between art and fashion, more possibilities for this kind of convergence have arisen. For example, the Fondiosi Prada in Milan has an exhibiting strategy that promotes contemporary art. A flagship shop could not reflect the designer's artistic essence more. Prada Group commissioned prominent architect Rem Koolhaas in 2000 to design new and technologically inventive retail spaces for presenting items in fresh and ultra-modern ways. Italian fashion has developed to provide the market with designs that use both cutting-edge technology and traditional workmanship. Designers agree that the Italian look is based on inspiration, research, and experimentation, making it all a big deal today. That will be all from this video. Have you tried Italian fashion? Did you know about its history? Let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until the next one, peace, I'm out.